I'd like to kind of talk a bit about the nuts and bolts side of making music, because I think a lot of people aren't aware that, for example, your last album, Vespertine, you were really the sole producer. It was Björk and a laptop, and you really created kind of most of the whole process.
Yeah, I did try to be all disciplined, but I did get help from engineers, and then probably in the end, when I'd done maybe the bulk, the sort of 80% of it, I would get people like Matmos to kind of bring some filigree, some sparkles. But yeah, I guess I was quite stubborn with this one, because I was very I wanted a very specific feel, and even though it was sort of micro beats and stuff that a lot of people were doing at the time, I had a specific emotional state in mind. So yeah, I was pretty stubborn.
Have you always been attracted to the craftsmanship of the track, the actual production and how a sound is, and going out and saying, well, I want to reproduce that echo or that piece of the way the wind just blew? It's something that you bring to your work.
Yeah, I guess I always thought I would rather be more like that sort of a person when I was a kid, and it sort of was a bit of an accident that I became a singer almost. And I remember me and my girlfriend when we were 14 climbing into my grandfather's bedroom and recorded him while he was asleep, because he was a really loud snorer, and then using that as a beat for a track, because obviously snoring is very rhythmic, you know. And we had another track where I brought a popcorn machine on stage, and we mic'd it up, and then I played the drums with the popcorn. So I guess that sort of stuff has always been kind of very interesting to me, and kind of where my head is at. Then singing is kind of like more, I don't think so much about it. It's more sort of my effortless, natural side, but kind of making all those noises and collecting all that stuff. That's kind of more sort of, I spend more time doing that. It's more my adventurous side, if you want.
As we're here in Iceland, Björk, I thought it would be a good moment to ask you about your environment. Lots and lots of artists seem to comment on this very melancholic mindset for being the place where they have their most creative, genius moments. But I get the impression sometimes from your music that it kind of depends how the landscape is feeling or what your environment looks like.
I guess especially after traveling a lot and being in a lot of different places, I think what is strongest about Icelandic nature and how it affects people is that it's quite primordial, and the energy that's here is kind of raw, and it's a country still in the making. So, and I quite like that. You know, it's got a lot of energy, and it's really raw. And I mean, for example, you go to a tropical island and you kind of mellow, and it sort of affects you. You kind of go all mellowed out and whatever. And here it's almost the opposite. It's you kind of you're sort of ancient little stubborn pagan kind of ghosts. They kind of get out and you get very like sort of sense of survival, of self-sufficiency gets quite strong, and it's empowering. Especially if you go for walks alone in nature and I stay on your own for a while, which I think a lot of Icelandic people do. You kind of reach this kind of sort of state of being at one with nature, and I guess I mean, as you can probably hear from my songs, I like it very much. But I don't think it's necessarily moody or melancholic. I think it's actually, it is that, but I think it's also, it can be very optimistic, because there's so much hope in this idea that the best is yet to come, and it's still in the making, and we've just started, you know, and that all this energy is available too, which is sort of a nice feeling to have.
I feel, listening especially to Homogenic, that you can hear almost the way, if you've never been to Iceland or this far north, the way you imagine volcanoes and ice and metal and water. I think they're all part of it's like a soundtrack to the country here. Do you think works coming later on are going to be different? Are you going to draw in on influences, because you say you've travelled, you've been to lots of different places, even though often you will come back to Iceland maybe, you know, to rest and create again?
Yeah, I guess I'm enjoying very much, because with Homogenic and Vespertine, it sort of was a decision that I knew I would take a few years, and sort of had a little baby plan in my head for that one. I'm enjoying very much now to have no plan. And I'm so tempted to jump into, oh, here's a plan, you can have this plan, and then I have to kind of undo it and kind of go, no. This time around, you just wake up and you have an idea, and it's, you know. So right now, I don't know exactly. I've got a few songs, and they're all kind of different stuff, and so I'm enjoying the sort of whole spontaneous thing very much. So yeah, I'll have to talk to you later and see where it's taking me. It's exciting.
If you ever get close to a human and human behavior, be ready to get confused. And me and my head after, there's definitely no logic to human behavior. But yet so ill.
your career now spans all your formative years. I mean, you were kind of out there as a singer and a performer from the age of 11. Was it as early as that? Mm-hmm. And so the public have always had the idea of Björk, the child, you know, or somebody who's very young. And despite, I think now, the maturity and the complexity of your music, it seems that there's always this wide-eyed, eager surprise, like the naivety of a child.
I guess I try not to think too much about it. I guess because a lot is written about me and stuff, and I can do funny things to your head to read those things. So I try not to think too much about it. But I guess the best way to answer your question would maybe to compare myself to my friends. And I think a lot of my friends kind of have that side of their character, you know, and even ones that are like quite a lot older than me or something. That it's like you will always catch them kind of with their favorite, you know, fishing or something, you know, their favorite thing to do. And they'll be like, oh, you never guess I had 3 trouts and, you know, it was amazing, you know. So I think it's a side in us that sort of stays there, you know. Like, and me, obviously, my favorite thing is music, so it's probably the place where I get most like, oh, you wouldn't believe the new Missy Elliott track, like, oh, kind of like you get really, yeah, it's excellent.
It's oh so quiet. Shh, shh. It's oh so still. Shh, shh. You're all alone. Shh, shh. And so peaceful until you fall in love. Simple, the sky up above. Simple is caving in. Wow, wow. Never been so nuts about a guy you wanna love. You wanna cry, you cross your heart and hope to die till it's over. And then shh, shh. It's nice and quiet. Shh, shh. But soon again, shh, shh. Starts another big riot. You blow a fuse. Simple, the dam cuts loose. Simple, so what's the use? Wow, of falling in love.
We've kind of talked so far about you almost as if you're contained within a bubble and that there aren't, you know, lots of other people involved. And I know that there are, and there are far too many to mention, because over the years, I guess the family tree of people has grown as much as the family tree of music. Are there some maybe people who you'd like to mention who are really part of the roots and the big thick branches who, you know, you'll take with you through your music because they've been real kind of foundations for you?
I've been lucky because I've worked with a lot of people through the whole time, you know. I guess on the musical side or the sort of more creative side, you know, people who, like Nelly Hooper and Mark Bell and now Matt Moss and
you kind of go into collaborations for the long term. They're people who you take on board who first and foremost become friends. And people that you really share just a desire to create music with before you kind of think, maybe we can work together and you can get something from them and they can get something from you. Is it all about contact, first of all?
Yeah, I guess with each and every musical relationship I've had, it's a very different story. Me and Mark Bell, for example, we first met in 1990. And we kept calling each other and kind of having debates about the new effect unit or whatever, and him calling me and playing me like some crazy stuff on the phone, and then it wasn't until '96 I said, why don't you come over to Spain, I'm doing some stuff, and he was going to stay for 2 weeks, and he stayed for 6 months, and we ended up working together for 4 years. So these things, I mean, they're like friendships. I guess I've compared them in past with friendship, because you can never foresee like who is going to be the person that you end up talking to every day on the phone, or the day just isn't complete or something.
I'd love to talk about video and know how much of the input is your brainchild and how much it's, I know that it's group work. Sorry, I'm kicking you now. No. Because to me it really seems to be an integral part of your music. It's almost as if you're able to intertwine the fantasy element with the reality and create a reality from that. So which bit is you? Is it always your ideas or a marriage of theirs and yours?
I think with every video there's a different story, and there have been videos where I've maybe, like majority of the ideas are mine, and there have been videos where I probably function more as a muse, and everything in between, you know. I guess the videos maybe I've been mostly involved in is the videos I did with Michelle Gondry, because they kind of, me and Michelle, we kind of share a similar youth and upbringing, and we kind of had a lot in common, and it ended up that the 6 videos I did with him are a lot of videos that where the songs are sort of based on my childhood. Then we actually would sit down and, you know, kind of brainstorm together, like ping pong back, and kind of write the script together. But I guess with all the songs, I kind of know their character. Once I've done them, I will kind of take them to a video director, and I will describe the character, and I'll be pretty stubborn. I know, you know, this song is like this. It's not Pink, this song, or I will have some clues, you know. And then the video director will take it further. I think also in some cases you're working with such creative minds that I personally respect so much that I wouldn't kind of get in the way of saying no, my idea is better, or, you know, some sort of ego sort of trip. And I think that's very important too. If you're going to make something, if you want to make something good, is to know when to kind of just sit down and relax, and that there is so much good stuff going on there anyway that you don't have to kind of ruin it with your amazing egocentric ideas.
video was a completely kind of separate entity, and as an artist you didn't need to make videos because it wasn't a necessary means to communicate, and it wasn't a vehicle for your music, would you still have a very visual side to the music anyway? Do you see the music? You see an image come together, a tiny film about it?
I think so. I think it comes naturally when I write the song. There's sort of about not only an emotional location, but it's also a sort of a visual location too, that I kind of know, okay, this is the moment when the person stood on top of the table and took a top off and screamed or whatever, you know. So it would be really foggy hints, okay. But there will be some hints there, you know. And I like it when it unites, you know. I kind of have this romantic idea that when sound and video unite, that something very, very magical happens. That sound on its own is great, but when the two unite, it's kind of, you know, it's just the most fantastic thing. And I'm not saying that you succeed every time, but it's always this kind of like this enthusiasm full of hope that you can unite the two, and then it would sort of like have 10 times more magic than without it, you know.